Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are cookies. We're going to make actually chocolate snowball cookies. And I believe that it's called snowball is because you glaze them with a white glaze. And what's kind of cute about them is that you can then decorate the tops if you want with colored jimmies or chocolate jimmies or any type of decoration that you want for maybe the season that you're making these cookies for. So there's a lot of variations with it. Let's get started. First off, I'm going to tell you I'm sorry I no longer put the recipe below the video, okay? So hopefully if you want to jot it down as we work together here, you'll be able to, write it down, and hopefully I'll go slowly enough and clearly enough that you'll be able to just jot it down as we go along. And a lot of times I do repeat things just in case, so that gives you a little bit of extra time to jot it down, okay? So we first want to start off with butter, and we're going to be using a 1/4 cup of butter. I cut it into small pieces because I believe it's faster to cream it, break it up, and then move it along for the video. So I'm just going to put that 1/4 cup of butter into my mixer. Now you can go ahead and use your hand mixer if you'd like for these cookies. I'm using my stand mixer, because I think it's much faster for the video. Now when I go to higher speeds just to move things along, I'm going to give you a warning because the mixer can sound loud. So it'll give you a second to turn it down or turn your earbuds down, whatever the case may be, okay? So let me turn on the mixer and break up that 1/4 cup of butter. All right, that shouldn't take you very long at all, maybe less than a minute or a minute. Really depends on the device you're using and the speed. The next thing that you're going to gradually start putting in is a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. Now you'll want to spend time on this step because you want to combine the butter and the sugar together so it's very creamy and well incorporated, okay? We're going to move it along though, and the next thing we're going to put in is 1 egg that I've had at room temperature, and let's beat that in. Okay, here once again you're going to probably spend 2, maybe 3 minutes, it really depends, and bringing this together so it's light, it's fluffy, it's pale yellow in color, and I'm going to let mine run just for a few more seconds. And I'm going to raise my speed, so warn you ahead of time. I probably wouldn't be going at that high of a speed, but again, for the video, so that I don't, keep you too long and bore you, move it along. Okay, the next thing, of course, is you're going to need chocolate. Now you need 1 ounce of, they come in usually squares, of unsweetened chocolate. Now you're going to need to melt it, but you can melt it in your microwave in a microwave safe bowl. But I like to actually save a little bit of money because, as we know, baking has become very expensive these days with the prices of food and whatever. And what I do is I buy a can or a canister of unsweetened baking cocoa for baking, not the kind, you know, that comes in a packet to make hot chocolate. And what you want to do to make 1 ounce, you put 3 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa to 1 tablespoon of your favorite oil, okay? I'm not going to get into it because it's so debatable and people write or they, you know, they get angry. So you pick the oil. But if you want to, you know, it's a little bit, I think it's quite a bit where I live, cheaper to buy it and make my own unsweetened chocolate. But again, it's 3 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa to 1 tablespoon of your choice of oil, or just buy the bars of the unsweetened and melt it, okay? So let's put that 1 ounce of unsweetened chocolate in there, and I want to get it all out here. All right. Now, if you want to use other types of unsweetened chocolate, you know, I know that they have, you know, German chocolate and, you know, different flavors that I've seen in the store. So I'm going to beat that chocolate in now. I'm going to warn you about the sound because I'm going to go to a fast speed. Okay, and then due to my paddle, I'm always checking the sides, bringing it in, checking that bottom where it tends to stick. And I'm going to have to go for a few more seconds. And you spend whatever time it takes for it to be nice and creamy and smooth. And again, that might be a minute, might be 2, it might be 3, you know. Okay, now once you have that, okay, and it's nice and creamy, all right, let's work on the dry ingredients, all right. All right, what we're going to need now is 1½ cups of all-purpose flour. We're also going to put a ½ teaspoon of baking powder. That's a ½ teaspoon of baking powder. Okay. We're also going to be putting in a ¼ teaspoon of salt. And then with my little whisk here, I'm just going to give it a quick stir. It doesn't have to be exact, but just give it a quick mix. And I almost forgot, if we can back up, I made an error, I'm sorry. You want to put, let's see, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and that was with the wet ingredients, but I forgot about it, so sorry about that. So let's beat that in. Okay, so once again, 1 teaspoon of your vanilla in the wet ingredients, and now we're ready for the dry a little at a time. Now, you want to be at a lower speed, of course, because you don't want to get flour all over you and the kitchen. Sorry, I forgot to warn you about the sound. Sorry about that. And what you want to do is just stay with the cookie dough or batter at this point, and just keep mixing it till it forms a ball. Now you don't want to overbeat this, but you do have to bring it together, okay? And as it comes together, it'll actually like clean your bowl, and then you'll know that it's ready. Now I'm going to warn you about the sound. Okay. And one of the reasons why I raised my speed is just it really cleans that bowl up so nice. And it, you know, and now just trying to get the excess off the paddle here. Okay. And we'll set that aside. And then I just got to make sure to clean the sides. Get to the bottom. And make sure that this is blended. I just want to get a knife here and clean my spatula off a little bit. I've got some product stuck on it there. Okay. Now, this dough is, cookie dough, is actually easier to work with if you refrigerate it for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, even 2. But if you're like me, a lot of times you just feel like you gotta get going and get started, you know, you can work with it, but it's a lot easier to work with when it's chilled. So you'll just, you know, take out the cookie dough ball and then wrap it in some nice plastic wrap. Or you can put it in your freezer, but don't forget it, because I've done that too, you know, for 10 minutes or so, and chill it that way. Okay, now I'm going to rinse my hands quickly here. Okay, now what we want to tell you is that of course you need a cookie sheet or a cookie pan, and we'll just think of it that I let that chilling take place on this cookie. All right. What I like to do is I use my small scoop, okay, especially if I don't chill the dough. And what you want to do is just make about an inch ball and then just roll it, you know, in your hand. Now you will need to either grease your pan or use your parchment paper as I am, or your Teflon mats, or whatever that you prefer. But you know, you will have to put something. The spray itself, I've had my cookie stick, so I don't like to spray it. So if I'm inclined, I generally grease it, or I use my, you know, my parchment paper. Okay. So again, I'm not going to bore you by showing you how to put an inch ball and roll a ball of dough in your hands. And again, once it's been chilled, it will be easier to handle. Now, what you want to do is you want to space them about an inch apart or so. They're not going to really get higher. They're going to stay the same height, but they're going to spread out, you know, width-wise a little bit. So you want to give them some room. Now you're going to bake these cookies at 350 degrees, and they can take you anywhere from, oh my gosh, 9 minutes to 12 minutes. It really depends on our ovens, and as you know, our ovens set up all differently. So, you know, you want to watch them. Now you don't want to over bake them because you don't want to dry them out. But I will tell you, you want to see that the bottom has a light golden brown to them when they're done. If it's too light, they're kind of raw in the center. But you don't want to over bake them. But like I said, they're going to be hard to the touch. So sometimes it's hard. I actually check it, cut one open, and see how I'm coming along with that. Now, once you bake them, and like I said, it could take 8 to 12 minutes, then put them on a cooling rack, okay, till they cool down a little bit. Now, I'm going to wash my hands real quick because I was working with raw cookie dough, because I want to show you what the cookies look like once they're baked up. Okay. There we go. I just want to get a clean towel here for my hands. All right. And this is how they turn out. Now, without the glaze. I wanted you to see them without the glaze. They'll have a hard finish on the outside, and they'll, you know, have that light golden brown on the bottom. So that's how they will be. Now, when you cut them open, okay, when you cut them open, you'll see that they have a chewy center to them when you bite into them, but they will, you know, almost like melt in your mouth. But they're moist, but they are crumbly. You haven't done anything wrong if they're crumbly. Now, what you'll want to do is, if you make a glaze, what I would suggest to do is just to use a cup of, say, powdered sugar. You can use water or you can use milk, anywhere from a tablespoon plus 2 teaspoons. And then you also can put like half a teaspoon of vanilla in it, or just use your powdered sugar and water. The glaze comes out really good, just to the consistency that you want. I like it to be more on the thick side so that I can spin the cookie in the glaze like that. And then I like to put it over a tray with some colored jimmies of chocolate. But again, you can use whatever, you know, you want to use, whether you want to use dots, any type of Christmas decorations, or whatever you're making them for, Christmas or Valentine's or St. Pat's Day, whatever. And then I like to put them in a little liner for a little presentation for someone to have one cookie. Now, this is what they look like once that they set up and they're dried to the touch, okay? And they really make a very nice little presentation for a small bite of chocolate. These are really great tasting little cookies. And some people have actually said they thought they were like little cakes. They were easy to make. They're fun to make, especially with kids or grandchildren in the kitchen. And I hope you try this recipe. If you do and you like it, well, leave a comment, because I'd like to hear from you. If you do write to me or have a question, I will do my very best to answer in a timely fashion. I want to also remind you, I'm sorry to say that while I don't put recipes on, and I'm not trying to bore you with this, but I get questions on it all the time, is that I'm not alone on this, that's for sure. But I got tired of seeing my work pinned and posted on different sites. People have written to me or had a question and I can't answer them. It became so frustrating for me. So it's just a reminder, please, if you're going to watch me on YouTube. That's the only place that I put my videos on. So if you write to me or you have a question or a comment, I can answer you, and I will answer you, okay? If you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, well, I can't thank you enough, or ring the bell. And again, if you try them, let me know how they went or how you like them. So, thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.